What's going on, everyone? My name is Joseph Reynolds, and today joining me is the Spanish announcer for the PFL himself, Mr. George X. Obviously, last weekend, a great night of fights, and then this weekend, another great night of fights. But how did you feel for last weekend's fights, buddy?
Oh, extremely excited to be back after what we saw last year with the Challenger Series, delivering amazing fights and great talent, not only for the season, but also potential future stars. Once again, we started with a bang last week with the welterweight division, and once again, we saw amazing fights. So really excited to be back with this series.
100%. And obviously, with these opportunities that the Challenger Series does provide for fighters as well, and also to showcase to the fans the next generation of fighters that are coming through from all around the world, not just in the US or in the UK, but lots of variety of places. What do you feel that's like for the fighters to have such a platform really early on in the pro careers as well?
Oh, no doubt. It's a life-changing opportunity because not only these fighters that, as you mentioned, come from around the world, some of them, they need that push, they need that big break that only organizations like PFL can deliver, can grant. So the Challenger Series is that platform. So if they showcase their skills, if they have an inspiring story, if they also show great character and personality, they have better chances to winning the contract. Because one thing is to win the fight, but also let's say that the four fights are exciting and the four fights are great, but what else do you have to give a promotion? Personality, story, background, everything, character, everything. You need to create the whole package in order to be appealing not only to the league but also to the audience. So it's a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah, and in terms of, obviously, we mentioned a little bit in terms of the welterweight weekend. It was a great weekend, obviously, Tadjin getting the contract and seeing loads of other great fighters as well. In terms of looking at this weekend, is there any in particular fight that you're looking forward to, or is it just an overall experience? You're just looking forward to it all?
No. I mean, this week we have the debut of the women's featherweight division. Those are the two big changes compared to last year. We have two new women's division. We have the featherweights and also the flyweights later this month. So it's really exciting. A lot of fighters who competed in the lightweight division last year in the Challenger Series, they are coming back, but in a more comfortable division for them. So we're going to have great talent here. Amanda Levy is going to be competing. She already participated, not as part of the season at PFL, but also in a showcase fight. But we have tremendous talent in the women's featherweight division. So you have to check it out starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Football Sports. We're gonna be on air every Friday till March 17th. So it's nonstop action for 8 consecutive weeks.
100%. And as well, in terms of looking at the vast divisions that there are now available for the women in MMA, especially in the PFL, and the women that have become stars in the PFL as well, Kayla Harris and Dakota Decheva in recent time as well coming through, and then Larissa Pacha obviously getting that underdog win. In terms of seeing all these opportunities for the women, and then there's such a vast sort of emphasis on the women divisions, how do you sort of feel to see so many women get the chance to find the PFL with the vast range of divisions?
Oh, no, we saw the lightweight division always provides exciting fights. The caliber, as you mentioned, Kayla Harrison and the rivalry with Larissa Pacheco. It's amazing. What we saw last year, Kayla Harrison losing that fight it's so close, so exciting. Larissa Pacheco showing her improvement, showing how tough she is. But also the lightweight division sometimes is a little challenging to find talent. So I'm really happy that the PFL is opening up new divisions. So the possibilities are endless because it's way deeper, the featherweight and the flyweight division for women. So we're gonna have so many new fighters joining the organization and new stars, giving a shot at the $1 million in the season.
Yeah, and then yourself obviously commentating these events and announcing them, obviously, to take the time to research these fighters, learn a lot about them. What's that overall process sort of like, knowing how busy you're going to be with the Challenger Series up to March 17th?
Well, it is a very interesting question because I joined PFL in 2018 after being almost a decade in Bellator. So not only, I mean, I was following already PFL, but then when you become a commentator, you need to get so used to the fighters, like you know them forever. So it's a process of learning everything about their backstories, watching footage, because when you talk to them, it's like, oh yeah, I know you. You know, you come from, you know, a winning streak. What happened in that fight? How you train? How's the injury going? You know, you need to get familiar with all these fighters, and then you can really call the action because you know why certain fighters decide to take that approach, certain approach, or the strategy. So you know kind of like the backstory or the reasons why their performance in the cage certain night. So yeah, a lot of research. We do fighter interviews, like pre-fight fighter interviews. We get research packages and yeah, just watching fights. You know, that's how you prepare.
Yeah, and then as well, when you do get to prepare, and obviously, I'm sure certain names may sometimes stick out more than others, or you see someone you might be really invested into their story. In terms of obviously trying to keep it professional and hide that, oh, I'm quite a fan of this fighter, I don't want to make it too well. What's that sort of like seeing a fighter that you know you're a fan of, but you've got to commentate equally for both fighters?
Oh, that's a tough one. For instance, Emiliano Sordi, you know, Argentina. We know him for a long time. Me and my broadcast partner Manny Rodriguez. So we are obviously rooting for him, but at the same time, we need to keep the broadcast neutral. You know, so sometimes, especially Manny, because sometimes he trains certain fighters or he has been in contact with that fighter for a long time. So he starts calling the fight like almost to his side. So I have to bring the you know the broadcast back to neutral grounds because every fighter deserves the equal time, you know. So it's challenging, but at the same time makes the fight more exciting from a broadcasting perspective because there's so much on the line. You have your emotions invested in that fighter, and then but once again, you're a professional, you have to keep the broadcast neutral, and you have a job to do. So it's really exciting to witness the fights live, because in 2018 when I joined the league, everything was remotely, and that was even before COVID. We were doing the shows remotely. I mean, the Spanish broadcast, but then in 2019, we joined the live events, and it's a game changer. I mean, you cannot replace the energy of the crowd, the energy of live fighting, and yeah. So I'm really lucky to be on site live, witnessing these fights.
Yeah, and then when you get to be at these shows as well, and something like the Challenger Series, obviously these fighters, they're not only fighting to get a win, but they're fighting for a contract. They're fighting for that opportunity that ultimately is going to really change their lives and lead them onto that next level. Do you feel as though there's a sort of different atmosphere in these sort of shows, knowing what the fighters are going in there to do, compared to maybe other shows where fighters are already signed to the promotions? They know if a result doesn't go the way, they'll be able to maybe get that opportunity again.
Oh, in both scenarios, you know, the Challenger Series and also the regular season, the stakes are really high because in the Challenger Series, they're really competing to earn that contract, that opportunity to be either part of the season or be part of the league to be developed, because not all the fighters are ready to jump into the Shark Tank, you know, with the big boys. Some of them are just ready to be developed, but they have tremendous talent. But in the season, come on, they're competing for $1 million. You know, that changes lives. So in the Challenger Series, you see the raw talent, the hunger, the excitement. Most of them are really young. And in the Challenger Series, you see more established fighters, world-class fighters, trying to change their lives or trying to cement their legacy in the sport. as we've seen all these years. So yeah, the stakes are really high in both.
Yeah, and then as well, obviously, I know we won't be overlooking this weekend with the great action that we've got in the women's featherweight division, but in terms of looking at all the weight classes that the PFL has to offer, is there any division that's coming up that really stands out to you as the one week that you really can't wait for?
Oh man, that's a tough one because we have so many interesting divisions. Of course, the welterweights always deliver. You know, in terms of Challenger Series, come on, the welterweight division provided Delano Taylor, who not only came from the Challenger Series but also made it to the championship. So that's what I love about the Challenger Series. That it's not a marketing stunt from the league. It's not here for show. It's the real deal. It's a real competition that delivers real high caliber talent. So the welterweight division is always exciting. Of course, the heavyweights, the big boys with the punching power, and also the talent from women, featherweights, and now the flyweights. It just keeps getting more and more exciting. We have the lightweight division, we have the featherweight division. I mean, Brandon Loughnane last year winning the $1 million and the championship. I mean, they're all exciting. It depends the matchup pretty much, but they're all good, man.
Yeah, and as well in terms of sort of looking at the expansions that PFL are making, obviously I can't mention it. Obviously, the Europe season now coming as well. Obviously, March 25th, that journey starts in Newcastle. In terms of seeing all these advancements that PFL make and being a part of that journey, what's it been like to be a part of PFL and then the journey and seeing how the promotions progressed?
It's so exciting to be part of league, an MMA promotion that is growing so fast that you can feel the energy every week. There's a new announcement. I mean, we learn about the deal with Jake Paul, one of the biggest influencers in the world, the creation of the super fight division, then the expansion into Europe. Last year, we had our first shows in the UK. We had the show in Wales and also in London. So the league wants to become the Champions League of MMA, and slowly we are accomplishing that mission now with PFL Europe. I know that PFL is really interested in the Middle East, in South America. So all these pieces, but it takes time. It takes time, but we're going really fast, and the audience is responding. The viewership and the ratings are responding. So it's really exciting to be part of that process.
Yeah, and we'd already touched on a little bit in terms of all these countries from around the world getting the chances to fight on the promotion. But in terms of being able to go to these different countries, obviously the London show last year, we got to see Abraham Babley and Lewis Sutherland, who we're going to see in the Heavyweight Challenger Series week, and so many other fighters that have gone on to do great things in these different countries and coming into the PFL. To have such a vast range of fighters with different backgrounds, different stories, all with different cultures. What's it sort of like as a commentator to get to sort of experience these fighters firsthand and see what they're like compared to other countries?
It brings the level up. It brings credibility to the organization. It brings diversity. It brings a mix of stories, because the background of the fighters are so diverse, so different. Some fighters come from, a tough childhood. They're trying to give their families a better life. Some of them are extremely competitive. Maybe they come from an Olympic background, or some of them are regional champions, but they've never had the opportunity in the big leagues. So it's a combination of things that bring the excitement and the diversity of the league up. So it's, in terms of a commentator witnessing that, it makes everything more interesting and more fun.
Most definitely. And then the final thing from myself, I normally like to close out with what they can expect to see this weekend, but I feel as though there's no other better person to do it than yourself. So in terms of moving into the Challenger Series this weekend with the women's featherweight division, what is it that the people can expect to see from those fights?
Well, we're going to expect great, like the matchups are really good. We're going to see fighters that have already had the experience. Some of them already had the experience in the Challenger Series last year in the lightweight division, but they're coming back. They're more comfortable in this weight class. So we're going to see really, really competitive fights. We're going to see great stories. And also, once again, different backgrounds. They come from different countries, and the stories are going to be great. So expect great action this Friday on Football Sports Network, starting at 9 p.m. You can't miss it.
100%. Well, that is everything from myself. I really appreciate your time today. And obviously, as mentioned, keep your eyes on the PFL Challenger Series this Friday, next Friday, and the Fridays following up to March 17th. I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much. And please tune in this Friday.
100%.